For all those of you listening at home, welcome. This is the webinar for the Lally School of Management at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. I'm Lori Jancic. I'm a Senior Student Services Administrator within the Lally School. That's just a very long title for Academic Advisor. Joining me on here in the same role is Maggie Wright. I think you can see her. And then joining us too are a number of students, and those are the people that we hope that you'll ask questions of and speak to, pick their brains. I'd like to introduce, and I'll just go down the panel here, and then you can decide if you want to pitch your question to anybody in particular or just put it out there for a general response. We have Nirav Patel, who's graduating, senior, sitting with us from Tennessee. Christina Daphniadis, who's just over a couple miles in Latham, right across the river from Troy's campus. Surya Pari, who's in Connecticut, right? I do want to point out that he is a dual with computer science. So there's one. Blake Battle is joining us from the Republic of Texas. Thank you, Blake. He's a sophomore/junior, plays on the football team, so can speak to geographic differences and a different, kind of schedule, if you will. I'm hoping Sapna Raghavan is on here somewhere. She too is a senior. She can speak to Greek life if you're interested. She can speak to study abroad opportunities. And that leads me to Angela Fu, who can also speak to study abroad. She can speak to clubs, a dual, right, within the School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. And with that, we'll just open up to questions.
All questions will be in the chat, right?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good.
Go ahead. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves too, get things rolling. If you want to speak to some of your own experiences, warm up.
All right, so I can start. So my name is Angela, and I'm currently a second year on my second semester. And I am a dual business management and DIS major. So DIS stands for Design, Innovation, and Society. So super long major, but super interesting. It's within the School of Humanities. So if you guys have any questions about that specific dual, I can definitely answer any of that. I'm actually currently supposed to be on my study abroad, but obviously with the COVID situation, I had to come back early, and my semester is cut a little bit shorter than normal, but I'm still taking classes abroad. So I did my abroad at NTU in Singapore. So again, if you have any questions about the abroad process, applying, the experience, things like that, you can definitely ask me, or hopefully when Sapna comes on. And then I'm also involved in Women in Business on campus and the Red and White Student Organization, as well as Greek Life as well. Yeah. So anyone else?
I can go next.
Yeah,
I can go next. My name is Nirav, and I'm from Tennessee, and my major is business management. So freshman year, I actually started as an aero major. So I was an aeronautics engineer, so I can answer questions about that too. I took all of those classes until junior year, second semester, which is when I switched to business. And I'm still graduating in 4 years, so it's possible. So I can definitely answer questions about that. I was also a aero and nuclear dual. So I had a bunch of classes in engineering curriculum too, and all the classes in business curriculum too. In terms of activities at school, I started a couple clubs related to like Indian dance, so I can answer questions about like activities and organizations, how you can start them at RPI. If you don't find any fit, or if you see something lacking, you can start a club. So I can answer questions about that. I can also answer questions about like engineering internships, because I did one, and then that's how I decided to switch to business, and I did business internships too. So I can answer questions about that. In terms of the job process, I'm currently applying. So I got accepted into something called Venture for America, which is essentially I'll be working at a startup for 2 years after graduation. So after that, they'll help me start a business. So it's like a special program for, if you know Andrew Yang. He was a presidential Democratic candidate. He's not anymore, but he was. So he started that program, and that's really cool. So if you want to learn more about that, feel free to ask any questions about that too. Yeah.
I'll go next. I'm Christina. I am a freshman business management major. I recently have joined Greek Life, so I can answer some questions about that. And I also
Hi,
since I'm a
I'm from
freshman, I
Dallas.
have a lot of
Also a
I'm
business
starting to
major,
like
and I have
tingle
a
with the whole
concentration in
pathway.
entrepreneurship.
So if you're a freshman,
I'm on the
you
football
have when
team,
you're a
so
freshman, you
any
have to pick a
athletes, if you
pathway
guys have any
now.
questions
So if you have
about
any questions
balancing your
about that, I
workload and stuff
can
like that, I
answer.
can answer them. I started a club, and I was a vice president of a different club, both through the Lally school. So if you guys have any club related questions, especially if you want to start one through the business school, I can answer those. So someone
I
asked
think one of the
about
questions was,
internship opportunities. So I had one internship last year. For freshmen, it's a little tougher because you don't really have a lot of experience and you don't have a lot of the coursework that a lot of internships require. But I knew someone, so I was able to get an internship with them. And yeah, that was really it. RPI helps you out a lot. What is the process for applying? You can really just go online and just search up internships and then put in whatever location, and then you can just start applying. It's pretty easy. Usually you have to make an account and then upload your resume. RPI has a job link, so you can use that, and then it's all the companies who've told RPI, oh, we need people with this major or this whatever grade and everything. So they have that. And the career fair, they have a fall career fair and a spring career fair. So that's a way to get your name in the door. And so some of these companies start knowing your name and who you are and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, sorry. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, we could definitely all kind of go down the line and probably talk about any of the internships that we've gone through
I'm
and like the
Soria. I'm a
process that
CS
we
business
have
dual
gone
with the
through in
concentration in
terms of like
AI
getting
and
our
data
internships, because I'm
analytics.
sure that each of us went
I'm
through
in
a
a
different
couple clubs
process
on
in order to
campus, a
secure
charity
that.
club, one of the
So
business
for
clubs,
me,
and I'm also
like
in
you were
Greek
saying,
life.
like you can
I'm on
definitely
co-op right
leverage
now, so I'm actually
your people that you
working
know and your
currently.
network. And
So I'm
I think
working
at
at MIT
RPI, so
Lincoln
we have a
Laboratories.
curriculum
It's
in
a CS co-op, but I'm
courses in
hoping
our
to do
curriculum that are
a business
professional
internship
development.
next
So it's a
summer.
2-part class, and that kind of definitely helps in pushing you to expand your network and just like kind of develop those skills in order to basically just get an internship and just be better in your professional development. And then for me personally, I was able to secure an internship last summer through just like basically looking online. There's definitely job link as well, so there's a ton of resources online as well as through RPI, but I personally found mine through a foundation, and that foundation was able to connect me to one of their partner companies, and then from there I was able to get the internship within the broadcast media industry. So if you look online, there will be a ton of foundations and opportunities like that. Yeah.
And then on that, got it. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can talk about mine. So freshman year, I did. Go ahead. Go ahead, Christina.
Also, if you're a freshman, good. Okay. I'm just gonna say when you're a freshman, even if going to the career fair in the spring and the fall is really helpful, you might not get an
And just
internship,
to
but
add
just
on,
going to
sorry
all
to
the
cut you
different
off, Nero,
companies to
because
see,
I knew you were gonna say something.
You're
But
good.
just to add
just to
on to the
introduce
career
yourself,
fair,
practice
definitely
like
go for
giving
it.
your resume
Even
is
if
really
you are a
helpful, and it
freshman. I
also
mean,
helps you gauge
the
like,
odds of
oh,
you
I'm
getting an
interested in this
internship, it may
company or
seem a little
whatnot.
slim, but it's definitely possible. There are people that have done it before, and just being able to go to the career fair even in your freshman year, even if you may not have enough experience, it just gives you more experience and more chances for you to talk to any of the recruiters. And also, a lot of these recruiters are the same ones that'll keep on coming back year by year. So if they keep on seeing your face and you talk to them and have a
One thing
memorable
I'd like to add
conversation,
is
it'll
also a
definitely
lot
help
of
leverage you later
companies
on
out
down
there
the
really
line
know
when
the
you're actually
name
trying
of
to get an
RPI,
internship or a job.
and a lot of alumni
Yeah,
will be
that's
the
all I
ones that
said.
come back to the career fair and will actually talk
Yeah,
to students.
definitely.
And they're
Also,
a
something
great
to note:
resource for
Lally
getting
has like
internships
their
just
own
through
career
talking to
fair the
them.
day before
They'll
the actual
help you get your
school-wide
foot through
career
the
fair.
door.
So
I
those
actually
companies
was
are mostly
interviewed by
looking
an
for
RP alumni,
business
which
majors
was
and
pretty
business
sick
analytics, and
and
all of
really
them
helped me
that encompass
get the job.
Lally.
So
So those are
that's a
really
big
helpful
plus to the
because
school.
they're for you, for Lally students. From my experience for engineering internships, the the it's hard to get them, well, whether it be business or engineering during freshman year. So what I did is I did some research during the summer. There's a lot of professors at RPI who do research. So you can, if you take their classes, even if you don't take their classes, you can email them and be like, hey, I'm interested in this, in the research you're doing. Can we talk to see if I can help in any way? And someone will actually usually apply, and you can get a research opportunity through that way. I had two of them before I got an internship. So, and that really helped me get an internship because I can apply the knowledge I learned in classes. So you can get an internship that way. Another is, of course, networking. That's how well, yeah, networking with professors actually really helps too. I just yesterday I got a email from a professor at RPI, like with a forward from someone in their network asking for like Lally students. So like one of their students. So and me as a senior, I already have a full time job, but just to get experience during the summer, like remote internships, while most other people's aren't getting one. So professor networking with your professors definitely helps because they have a huge network. Yeah.
Another thing to add is that our school definitely has a bunch of like tons of companies that come to our career fair, both fall, spring, and our business career fair every year. But there's definitely big major companies that do have a bigger presence on our school. So just some of those to list are Hasbro, EY, Deloitte definitely has a big presence in our campus. If you guys are interested in consulting or any of like the big four that realm. And they tend to always consistently be at our career fairs as well as host something called the Deloitte Startup Competition. So that's just something that they host every year. And there's also other opportunities such as they host info sessions throughout the year as well as coffee chats. So those are all things that you'll be able to find on JobLink once you are integrated into the campus and everything.
Yeah, another thing about the career fair is even as a freshman, you might not get an internship because I had an interview with one of the companies, Northwestern Mutual, and just this past semester, they asked me, "Hey, are you still looking for an internship for this upcoming summer? We're still interested in you. You just didn't have the type of experience and knowledge your freshman year." So they definitely still will follow up with you and check if you're still available for the next year or whenever they're ready for you to be an intern. And is it hard getting a minor in entrepreneurship? Not really. It's just 3 courses. I'm in 2 of them right now, and they're really interesting and cool. You learn about everything about what it takes to start a company and the different nuances. So it's not hard. 3 classes, two in the spring and then 1 in the fall, and that's it.
Yeah. There's also the Severino Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology Innovation, I believe is what it's called. And they host to like 4 competitions every year, and they're amazing. Like they help you go through the entire process of like starting a company, thinking about a problem, coming up with an idea, and then you get to compete and
something
win some
else that's
money at the
also
end.
kind of
And
fun
you can put that money
is
towards
because
starting
a
the
lot of
business, or you can pocket
internships
it.
is a lot
I
of
don't know.
pressure.
So
But one thing that is fun is
so
when you do
I do
get
that
some
almost every
interviews, they
semester.
like will fly you out
Yeah,
to the
and just adding
companies or
on,
things like that, and it's an all
100%.
paid
Yeah,
like
adding on to
expense-free
what
trip.
Nero was talking
So I
about
got to go
for
to New York City
entrepreneurship,
twice last semester.
just opportunities and
I had
resources
my
on
hotel paid
campus.
for,
The club
food. They
eShift
gave
is
me
the
way
one
too
that
much money.
hosts
I actually
these
made
4
money going down
competitions.
there
I think
in
it's
one of the
4 or
interviews.
maybe
So
several more,
that's
but
something to keep in
they're
mind. So just
basically small
apply
competitions that
everywhere
all lead up
because
into
you
each other.
never
So the
know.
first one is very
If anything, you're
simple,
gonna get a
open
fun
to
weekend out of
anyone.
it.
And it would basically just be you pitching the competition. So I also have participated in that, and it's just something super easy, super simple. It's I think like a 5-minute pitch or so about an issue, and then once you get through that competition, there's also the other 3 or 4 leading up to a final one for you to really build up your business idea. Yeah, so there's definitely resources on campus for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2021.
February usually, early February.
Mm-hmm. Maybe there's a question for you, Nero.
Oh yeah. Do you see any engineering majors taking dual degrees or minors at the Lally school? Yeah, actually, I see a lot of them. I see engineering majors taking minors in business management, minors in business analytics, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Business analytics. So, ITWS too. ITWS majors also take minors in business management too. Even bio majors take minors in business management too. So yeah, a lot of them, and it's not too difficult to do.
Yeah, I think I definitely find that there's a lot of people that are not within, like their primary major may not be within the Lally school, but a lot of them end up taking up a minor in business or even just a couple of courses within the Lally school just to up their professional development and just their skills. And they might take that course as an elective, but it's a great opportunity for you to take advantage of. And in terms of dual majors within business, there are actually quite a lot. And specifically, I know for within DIS, that there is already a set schedule or like 4-year plan for specifically mechanical engineering and
The
DIS,
fall
and then
career
business
fair
and
is
DIS.
usually
So that's
September 20th, I
definitely
think, around
one
that time
where
period.
there's a lot of
And
people that are within that major.
yeah, the
So if
spring
you
career
choose
fair
to
is
do
also
that dual
pretty early
major,
on in the
there you
semester.
definitely won't be alone in doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not too difficult. And you would just have advisors from each school. So I have an advisor within the business school, and then I have an advisor within School of Humanities, which is with my dual major.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. I think in terms of the dual major and being able to balance both of your coursework from each major, it's something that your advisors will definitely be very accommodating of, and they because the Lally School is small, it's advantageous in that you'll develop a closer relationship with your advisor, and you'll definitely be able to feel like that case by case basis and having them work with you specifically to work out all your coursework. Yeah.
Another thing is the students at RPI also really helpful about that. Like they'll help you, like the upperclassmen will help you figure out which professors are like have more work and which professors have less work, which professors are more helpful, which professors are like better at teaching, which professors have research, stuff like that. You can ask your upperclassmen friends too. They're super helpful about that. So you can balance out the coursework. Go ahead, Christina.
Yeah, as a CS dual that has no overlap with my business degree, it's definitely a lot of more, it's a bunch more credits for sure, but you really work with your advisors to find the right schedule for you, and you're able to balance it out.
See, a
In
question
terms
about
of, let's say if
pathways.
you have
I'm
a
just gonna
hard semester CS wise for
so
me, I'll
for
take
freshmen
a couple
now
more
and like
humanities
new
classes with like one other business class that
students, you have
semester,
to
and
pick a
then it'll even
pathway,
out the
which
next
is
semester.
basically
It's really all about planning
a
ahead,
topic. It
and
could be
as well as,
economics,
of
it
course,
could
you're going to know
be
what
music,
professors
and
are
you
a little
take a
bit
few
more like
classes.
homework
There's a whole
heavy
list
versus other ones
online. You
being
can pick the
maybe more
topic, and you
test
have to
heavy, and kind
take
of planning that
about
out for
3
whatever
or 4
suits you best.
classes in this topic, and it's considered your pathway, and it can easily be converted into a minor. For business students, one of the requirements you have to take is a class is Principle of Economics, and this is actually a course that also counts towards a pathway. If you're not sure what you want your pathway to be, which I still don't know, Principle of Economics applies to multiple topics, and you can see that online with a list of all of the pathways you can have. And so if you have an interest or like you're interested in getting a minor, you might want to pursue a certain pathway. I started my pathway in economics, so I took principles of economics, and then I started macroeconomics, but realized I did not like it. So now I also took a class called Science, Technology, and Society, and so I'm interested in maybe pursuing that pathway. And a pathway just kind of introduces you into different topics or majors, minors that might not be necessarily in your major. Maggie just actually posted the link for the pathways. So yeah, I would recommend if you don't know what you want your
So there's a
pathway to be, to
question.
take
It says,
Principles
"What's
of
it like being a
Economics or
business
Science,
major at a
Technology, and
STEM
Society,
school?
or
Is the
one
environment
class that
friendly?"
applies to multiple pathways
So I
too,
think
so you
to
don't
take a
get
jab at
stuck
this
in a
question, I
pathway you
think that being a
dislike.
business major within a school like RPI, our school is definitely one of the smallest, if not the smallest, within RPI. But I would say that it's pretty advantageous in that, again, you will be able to develop a lot closer connections with your, not only your professors, but also your advisors as well. As opposed to, like, you'll notice if you have any like engineering friends or CS friends, a lot of them typically, their advisors will be handling like hundreds of students at a time. So they definitely won't be able to have the opportunity to develop a relationship over the time with you and your advisor, or like you and your professors. And another thing with the Lally School being on the smaller scale is that Blake mentioned this a little bit before, but starting out clubs within the Lally School. So I also was one of the founders of Women in Business within my freshman year, because I found that it just wasn't a club that existed before, and it's definitely an easier process in order to start up any opportunity that you want to pursue within the business school because of its small size and you being able to have easier connections with all the resources within the school. Yeah. Anyone want to add on that?
Yeah, I can definitely add on that. I would say it's pretty advantageous actually. It's pretty friendly. Um, Coming from engineering, I thought business was much more like, well, so engineering in the last 2 years gets more like hands-on. It gets more like application. Otherwise, it's all theoretical. Business from the beginning, it's all application. Like you get up there, give a presentation, and you learn. Like you suck at it the first time, but then you learn how to give a presentation in front of the entire class, and then you see everyone else do the same thing, so you don't feel bad about it. So it's, and then you get to. I had a couple classes where I got to go out into Troy, into the RPI community, and help out like businesses too, like a grocery store at RPI called Fathers, which I helped out for a business project. So it was all about like, how do I actually like go out and make a difference? So some majors will say like, hey, business majors are all free all the time. It's really easy, but it's more, you can tell them like, no, it's more of like application based. I have projects rather than tests.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah.
Yeah, and just adding on to what Soria said with like being able to work with a bunch of people from different majors and different backgrounds, there's definitely opportunities for that on campus in terms of there is a course that's generally geared towards CS majors called ARCOS, and it's basically a student projects based course, and they can take it for any number of credits that they want depending on how much work they put into it, but these are all student run projects, so things such as shuttle tracker, Submittee, which is the main homework submitting platform for CS majors across the whole school, and just cool projects like that. So those are all student run, student based, and they're always looking for majors like to fill in any positions or like gaps that they may need within their project. So they may need a business major, they may need engineers, even though they're not.
Another thing to note is
so there's
a lot of
opportunities
times
like
where
that, as
you'll
well as
have
people
like certain
around campus
classes
are
that
really
want you to
just
be in
doing
groups of
projects
different
all the
majors.
time. So things like
So that
eChip or
like, because each
you're
person has their
honestly
own
bound to
strengths and
find
weaknesses,
someone that if
especially
you
in
want to
like
work
open
with someone from a
source
different
or
major,
like
in
you know,
order
where
to
you
get
work
their
on your
project
own
up and
project
running,
or
you
ideas that you
100%
might have.
can and will.
Those classes
With like your business
kind of can
background,
lead to
that it's a
businesses
skill set that you
in the
have that
future,
they
and
may
they
not
want
have, and
people
also
from
vice
different
versa.
majors working
So I
together.
think that's usually
And
my
you'll definitely
response when
see, you
someone's
know,
like
someone that's
business
an
majors have
engineering
like a
major be
specific
very
schedule,
grateful
but
to have a
it
business
really
major
is a different
that can
skill
actually
set
make their idea into a
from
viable
major to
business.
major. Yeah.
RPI has had a couple in the past that have actually been pretty successful. So that's something to keep in
Can
mind.
any of you speak
Everyone,
specifically
it's
on the
not like
engineering
a,
MBA
you know,
program?
you're not gonna get hated on for being a specific major.
Does anyone do
Everyone
that?
is friends with everyone. It's a pretty friendly
Yeah, I
environment.
think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's also, in addition to the MBA program, I know that there are some people that are doing co-term with the MS in supply chain, or also the MS in, I believe, business analytics now. That's also an option. So there are several options for masters within the Lally school. So MBA, supply chain, and data analytics.
There's also that
Oh, sorry.
there's also the technology and entrepreneurship program too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
really cool too.
If you're referring to the co-term program, yeah. So the co-term program is a 1 year MBA, as long as you're an undergrad at RPI. And for each major, there's certain GPAs that you have to hit, and you apply for it. And essentially, you start taking some of your co-term classes even your senior year, and they kind of like push it all together, and so you're able to graduate in 1 year instead of a
This
regular
is a
2 year
little
grad
like on a
program.
hinge,
It's
but
a
there is,
lot of
I
my friends
believe, a
are actually in
program
it
that
right
is
now.
the
And one thing
Lally,
that's
and
unique about it is
it's a
even if you're
business and
finishing
JD
early in
program if
3 years,
anyone's interested in
you
specifically
could
law
do a
and
fourth
business.
year
So that
as
was
a
one that I was
co-term
considering when
and
I was coming
graduate
into
with
RPI.
an
I ended up
MBA,
not
which is
pursuing
super
it, but
advantageous.
I believe it's a program where you would graduate RPI in 3 years with a BS in management, and then you would be able to move on to Albany Law. So if anyone is interested in that, there's definitely info online, and you would be able to talk to advisors and like Lori and Maggie about it. So there's someone that asked, is there an FBLA club? So Future Business Leaders of America. So we don't have that specific club on campus, but there's definitely a ton of clubs within the Lally School. So there's LMSA, which is Lally Management Student Association, which Blake, you're on the e-board on, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be able to talk about that. There's Women in Business, which I was the president of, and then I was on my off semester for so my semester away. So I can definitely speak about that. There's a couple more. I think there's a Management Honor Society, Epsilon Delta Sigma, and there's one or two more, but those would be
There was an
ones that
investing
you would.
club. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. There's an investing club as well. Yeah. So there's definitely a ton of business clubs on campus. If you find that there's one that you specifically want to start that our school doesn't already have, again, I would say that the small size of the Lally School definitely makes it easy for you to start a club, because you have the resources all close by and like just available to you. Yeah. And then the process for DIS, I believe DIS, any arts major, and GSAS. So those you do have to have an application. So when I was applying to add it on in my second semester of freshman year, I had to write a statement of intent, create a 4-year plan, and I think just submit a portfolio of some type because these are more design and arts related majors, so they do require an application. But the application it's not bad, and all of the info is online for you to do that. And there's definitely advisors and contacts within the humanities school that are very accommodating, and they'll help you and explain what you'll need for the application.
Being an athlete it's a lot more work, I would say. We have practice every day. Whatever sport you play, you're gonna have practice every day. Usually you'll have one day off, and that's for academics. So that'll be like a study hall type of day for it's like a 2 to 3 hour study hall you'll have once a week. But no one treats you any different, like at the actual school. Every professor gives you the same amount of work as everyone else.
So
You might
talking about the
have
process
you have
of
a waiver
applying
to
for
get
a
out of
dual
some
major, it's
classes if we
dependent
have an
on
away
what
game.
majors you're dealing with.
But besides
For computer
that, you have
science,
to go to every
you have
class
to
like
have a
everyone else,
B or above in
and
certain
it's the
classes,
same.
and
You have
then
probably about
essentially you just
during the
have to
season,
get
you
a
probably
paper
have 4 or
signed
5
by your
hours a
advisors
day
and then
of
CS
practice for
professor,
like
things
related
like that.
stuff, 3 to 4
There's
hours a day.
I don't know if there's
So
any like
that makes it a little
GPA
tough,
requirements
but
outside of
it's
those like
honestly
classes,
easier in season to do a lot of
but
your
there's
work
usually a couple
because you're
classes
on a
that you
strict
have to
schedule
take
and you don't have
before
time
you
to
can
lollygag and just do whatever you
declare the
want.
dual.
So usually I practice till like 6:30 or 7, and then after that you have to do all your homework and stuff. And yeah.
So someone asked, could you talk about what makes the Lally School different from other business and management schools? So I think one big key point that I usually try to sell whenever I'm talking to a recruiter or anyone like networking, anything professional wise, is that being from the Lally School, and again with our business school being placed within a STEM heavy school like RPI, that's definitely something that you can leverage, especially within today's world, because people in the workforce today are definitely looking for applicants and just employees that are well-rounded and are able to not only have the business acumen and be able to be communicative and work with other people while also being able to have like the analytical skills of a business person. They also want you to have some technical skills, and that's definitely something that RPI has, and within the Lally school that makes it a little different from other typical management schools. So all majors within RPI are required to take a CS, at least one CS class. So even as a business major, you'll still be required to fulfill a CS requirement as part of your core curriculum. So that definitely gives you a little bit of leverage if you know how to have a skill such as coding, as opposed to a lot of other business majors out there.
Yeah. So one of the one of the perks of a small school is we'll go on trips a lot. So like these past 2 years, we went on a New York City trip and visited 7 companies over the 2 years, like Bloomberg, EY, Oppenheimer, some of those really big companies. So that's one of the perks, and it's free to go. And I like it a lot because since we are just a kind of a general business management, you get a lot of electives. So with those electives, you have time to dual major easily, do a minor. I'll have a minor and I have a concentration, and I'm graduating in 2.5 years. So being able to do all that was a big perk for me to come here. And the 5th-year master's is obviously a big program because you can stay here, stay on the same financial aid, which helps a lot, and then just be able to stay with your friends for an extra year and everything like that.
I would also say, just kind of summing what everybody said up,
And then also
there's
something
a great
specific to
support
the school
system
is
at
the
Lally,
size of the school
and
is pretty
like
small.
your
So
advisors,
whatever
your
class you're in, there
classmates, your
isn't that many
professors are
students
there
in
for
it.
you and
So
helping
you get
you
more of a one-on-one
get new
attention with the professor
opportunities.
if you need it. You're able to ask for help,
Also,
go to office hours, and have a
the
relationship with them. That's really unique to the business school in RPI,
sorry,
and
I
I'm
forgot what I
sure,
was gonna say.
to the size
The
of other
small
business
classes
schools
are
across
also
the country that are
what you're
probably
doing
much
in your
larger.
classes has
It's
to do with
unique to the
real world
school
examples
where you can really
constantly.
develop that
Your professors
relationship
are
with the professor if
applying
you need it.
like real world cases, and that's like really helpful. And also, like Blake said, it's general management, but you're getting an introduction into all kinds
Yeah,
of
Another
things
and
to
thing,
just
do with
like
last thing I
that.
would
All of
add,
my classes
sorry.
as a freshman
sorry,
have been introduction classes,
last thing I
but
would
they
add
give you
is
a really
that
good scope, and you get to
I
like
just found this
kind of
out
figure out, oh,
like
I'm
just
interested
today
in
actually.
marketing, or I'm
RPI
interested in finance, which is really
alumni
helpful.
are known for starting good companies. Like they're known in the venture capital venture capital like startup community for starting a lot of companies. I did not know this. Like as much as MIT, Stanford, Princeton. So if you're interested in entrepreneurship, definitely a place to go. You can also learn a lot of STEM skills while learning business skills. So you can combine them and start a phenomenal business. And there's a lot of resources for that too. So.
Yeah, and just like a small thing to add on lastly is that there are definitely bigger schools where you won't be able to take you would take typically like your core classes within your first year, and then you wouldn't be able to touch on any of your business classes until like maybe your second, third year. I know like schools like Emory do that, but here the Lally school you start from your first semester. So you start taking business classes, intro to management, data analytics, all of those super important core business skills, as well as more straight from the bat once you enter.
Yeah. So I have a question about what made you decide to switch your major. So it was I made the decision in one day. Maggie might remember. So I was right after my internship in engineering. I had a 6-month internship. So right after that, I realized throughout it that like at best I could be like after doing a lot of hard work, I could be slightly above average engineer. But but as a business major, like I just realized I had the mind for a business major, that I can think like big picture. I can think how systems happen. I can think how processes can be more efficient. I realized that by like reading books. I realized that by working on business ideas. Even as an engineering major, I got to compete in these competitions. I've been doing that since freshman year. And I've always wanted to start a company. But my idea was I'm gonna start like a fusion rocket company like SpaceX or something like that. So that's why I did aeronautical and nuclear dual major. But then as I grew and as I went to internships, got some experience, I was like, no, I want to be in the business side of that, not in the technical side of that. So I went and got more experience in business side of it, and I absolutely loved it. It was very late, but I got all the classes done in time, and I'm learning a lot. So yeah.
Um,
Another question is there a minor? Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sue.
yeah. Um, so someone asked, what does a typical class schedule look like for someone who's majoring in marketing and slash economics? So, we don't have majors within marketing, but marketing is an option for one of our business concentrations. And I'm not sure, is it a pathway, Christina? I'm not sure. No. Okay, yeah. So it's definitely a concentration option. So for any concentration within the business school, which includes finance, accounting, marketing, supply chain, entrepreneurship, I think those are all of them. All of those you would just have to complete
No,
3
there's no
courses
pathway.
specific for those topics. So I am working towards currently a marketing and supply chain management one. So for the marketing one, typical class schedule, again, I mentioned it's only 3 additional courses, so it's just a matter of you
I would
fitting
say
them
one of the
into
minors.
your 4-year plan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and it's definitely
Go for it. Yeah. I would say like it's definitely the data analytic ones or anything like that is always helpful. But if you can also go on the other side of things and do like entrepreneurship and marketing, because those are skills that anyone with a science major won't necessarily have on their resume and would stand out at a career fair. Because that's something
yeah.
like I
And
have
for econ, oh,
psychology as
sorry.
my minor, and that always I get asked about, which I'm not really expecting. So honestly, all of the major minors would work for them. You just got to choose what you're most interested in because it's going to stand out because it's not going to be common
Also,
within those science majors.
there's a layout that I remember getting last year, and it's for business management and business analytics, and it kind of just lays out your 4 years, and it kind of shows you what core classes you have to take, but then like where you have time for electives and like I don't know if I think that's online somewhere. If we can like post the link maybe, but it's like a good setup and it kind of shows you like they like a recommendation. Obviously, you can like
So
tailor
there's
it
a
to like
you
your
question.
can
So
take
major
can you
if
quizzes.
you're
take?
dueling or whatnot,
Yeah,
but just like a basic setup of
go for it.
I'm taking 4 classes this year,
Yeah.
this
I was
semester,
just gonna
next
say yeah.
semester I'm going to
You can
take this
take business courses
elective and
regardless of
help
your major,
fulfill
regardless
my
of your minor.
pathway or
If you have space in your
etc.
schedule, you can take any courses at RPI. If so some courses require like have a prerequisite that you have to take a certain class before you take that course. So just make sure to have that prerequisite before taking the course. Otherwise, that's the only constraint.
Yeah.
And then also there's a lot of electives on there. So a lot of typical, basically any major, as you know, especially going to your junior and senior year, you have a lot more electives that you could take in anything you're interested in. Like next semester, I'm taking like a music engineering class
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff like that. So
yeah,
that's always
100%.
fun.
And then for the business courses, as Nirav said, you definitely just have to check if there are prerequisites. But even if there aren't, if you feel like you have a background where you may not have technically taken the prereq course, but you feel like you would be qualified to take the advanced course, you can always email the professor and see if it's possible to work something out to get you in that course if you're really, really driven on trying to take it. Yeah.
I would say for the balance of workload and schoolwork, you'll have a lot of downtime, especially as a freshman, because usually freshmen only take 16 credits. So that's like 4 hours of class a day. You'll probably have 2 classes. So like an example would be like 5 class from 10 to 2. I might only have like an hour or 2 of homework, and then from 4 to the rest of the night is free. So it's actually kind of tough to just get yourself motivated to do the homework because you have so much time. So that's the problem I have is I'll just procrastinate. So it's rarely that you're not going to have enough time. Most of the times you'll have too much time, especially as a freshman and sophomore. And then once you get into the
Yeah.
The
upper
only
level
other thing to
courses with
mention
more
is,
coursework
like,
and
for
more
example,
projects,
I actually
then
don't
you
have
might
any
start
free
getting
elective space really
it'll get a little tougher. But
because
freshman,
of the
sophomore
dual.
year,
So
you really
in
have a
that
lot of
case,
time
that
on
free
your hands.
electives would be like added on,
Yeah,
but they
and
don't
then
actually
definitely
count
adding
towards
on to
my
that. So within
graduation
freshman year,
requirements. So you
generally the
can still
courses you'll
take
be taking
classes.
are
It just
more base
necessarily
level and like
won't
prerequisites,
be the ones
um
required for
and
you to
it just
graduate
depends
on time.
on the
So
like your
keep
high
that in
school
mind as well.
workload and previously like in your own work ethic. But in my first semester, I was able to take 5 courses because I just wanted to test out like if I mentioned before I was considering doing the law business program, but I had no experience in law previously, so I felt like I should probably dip my feet into the water before full sending into law and business program. So I decided to take law as my 5th course, and it was definitely doable even while I was taking 20 credits within my first semester. But yeah, I would say if you are considering maybe wanting to explore other options, freshman year is definitely a great time to add on another course or maybe like an elective just to see if you like something, because that'll definitely be, I would say, your easiest year and with your easiest course loads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last thing I would add is that, sorry, Lori, go ahead. Okay. Last thing I would add is that there's a lot of support for you to find your balance. Like I'm an learning assistant at RPI,
Okay.
meaning that my whole job is to help freshmen
No, go
find
ahead.
a balance between their workload. I help with time management. I'll help with like developing studying skills. So I basically live in one of the rooms in your dorm, and you can come like to me anytime asking questions about this. So there's a lot of help available for you to individually find the balance. So that's the only thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, like I was in 22 credits this semester, and I was on the football team, and I still had a lot of free time to do whatever I wanted. So it's rare that it's gonna be too much. Yeah.
So, some of Blake's free time is actually
I'll
spent
be
sitting
there.
in my office. Let's clarify. So, I do. I want, and it sounds like Narav's just going to come and live in your room with you also and help you out. I did want to clarify. We're getting a couple of questions. I saw you on that list. That was great. One of the questions we're getting is to differentiate between the Eng MBA and the Sci MBA and a co-term. So the Eng MBA, Sci MBA is something that a science student or an engineering student will do beginning their sophomore year. They apply to it after their freshman year. They have to hit a certain threshold and everything, and then they start working those classes in with their science or engineering curriculum. The co-term is a co-terminal degree but specifically that's a separate master's degree. So we have several programs right now within Lally. So you'd finish whatever major with a bachelor's degree, and then
So there's a
beginning
question, and
senior
it says,
year is when
how
you
feasible is
apply
it to
for a
attempt to take
co-terminal
the
degree. But
accelerated
the
master's
ENG
program,
or
so
the Sci
co-term in
MBA
CS
will
and
begin, that curriculum
accelerated
begins
master's
with
program
sophomore
in
year.
CS and co-term to get an MBA. Soria, do you think you could harp on that for CS? I'm not, yeah. Yeah.
So I had a friend freshman year who was a senior who did the accelerated CS program, and he did finish in I think and co-term too, but I don't think it was an MBA. It was something else. So he still finished in 4 years, but his course load was 20 to 22 credits per semester. So you really have to gauge like how much you're willing to put in to be able to do that, and it takes a lot of work, but it is possible. You just gotta be dedicated.
Yeah, and if you're considering co-term, it can help if you are considering it earlier on, so then you can add on and just really plan it out accordingly with your 4 years. And this is if you come in with enough credits, but there is definitely a ton of people that are able to do their undergraduate degree and get their bachelor's as well as the co-term and finish their master's within 4 years. But that's if for people that were going to graduate a year early in advance anyway. So that's definitely a possibility. And there's people from all different majors that have done co-term, and especially within the MBA program or any of the masters within Lally, so supply chain, analytics, and TC&E. So there's someone I know, she majored in chemical engineering and she got her bachelor's in that, but then she
Yeah,
later on did the co-term within the
I'm
supply chain
I'm actually not
management
familiar with the accelerated master's
supply
program,
chain
but doing the
management masters,
CS and the
and
co-term program
she was
is
doing
very
fine.
feasible. There's a lot of people that do it. It's the same as any 5-year program, or to do the co-term. It's definitely not anything that's out of the world to do. You just have to manage your time well.
20, 23. You can take up to 23, and then after that, every credit is $1,500. Yep.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
is
I'm
it
paying.
possible?
I'm paying for one credit. I'm paying before.
Yeah. So someone asked, is it possible to dual major and also participate in the co-term program? It's 100% possible. The thing with a dual major is typically, like, I think Soria can also agree on this, but your schedule will be a little bit more packed because you have 2 curriculums to fulfill, especially within business, unless you find a lot of overlap within them. But you can, I think really any student, if they really want to, can add on the co-term program, and that would be their 5th year, and you would graduate with a master's with the same financial aid package. Yeah.
Sure.
Oh man.
Speaking of the number of courses students take, the minimum number of courses is 12 credits, which is 3 classes, 4 credit classes to be a full-time student, and you can take up to
Sapna, do you
24
want to
another
introduce
question.
without
yourself
having to
also?
pay extra, but students are
that's-
typically around 16 to 20, I would say. Okay. Yep.
And also you did study abroad. So if anyone has questions about that as well. So there's actually a question on that. But sorry, there's one more question about balancing dual majors.
Look at you, hotshot. Yeah. I ran over on a
agree with
different
that.
Zoom call, shockingly. But yeah, I'm Sapna Raghavan. I'm a graduating senior. And yeah, I did
So
a lot
with
of
my
internships while
CS,
I
I
was
think
at
the
Lally. I
curriculum
guess
that,
I'm still at
like the
Lally. It's
template
such a
that's given
weird
to you freshman year
situation.
with the dual is,
And
I
I'm
think
going
you
to be
have
working at
2
Deloitte
total
in
semesters of 16
Boston
credits,
this
and the
coming
rest are all 20
September
credit
as of
semesters.
now.
I
I was
kind
involved
of
in Greek
float
life and
between
a
just
lot of other
because
clubs on
of my
campus.
co-op and things like that,
Yeah, it was business
all
management
kind
with
of
an analytics
fill in place. But
concentration.
for the most
So
part, it's 20 credit semesters.
I'm gonna answer some
I try to
questions as
do
well.
it where it's like 2 CS classes, 2 management classes, and
Yeah, I did that too.
like a humanities, but I'm actually really far ahead of my business side. So my last couple of semesters are going to be more CS heavy.
Yeah.